Blake, Austin-Tock, welcome to the Double Triple podcast.
So good to be here, Gabe. How are you?
Very good. We're both very excited about this, but I've got to start with the big headline. You've just been
Mm,
offered 170K BDR role at Adaptive Security, quite possibly the most exciting cybersecurity startup in the world right now, Series B, backed by NVIDIA, OpenAI, Andreessen Horowitz. And I'm just so glad that you chose cybersecurity over AI in the end. So how do you feel about that, the result coming out of the Double
Oh,
Triple
it's
program?
yeah, it's awesome. And I only chose it in the end because of you, obviously, and I want to be you. No, but yeah, super pumped. It's been a pretty intensive process, I would say. But also nothing that I was super surprised about at the same time. So yeah, it's been awesome and I fly to LA soon, which is even more exciting.
It's crazy. At the time of this podcast, you're in the middle of the transition zone, right? Coming from real estate in Sydney, about to start
Mm.
the role only in like a week's time, and they're flying you to LA, all expenses paid.
So
Super
good.
exciting.
And that'll be the week of onboarding. So excited to meet the team over there. I've already connected with a few of them. And after this, actually, I'm speaking to one of them, which is exciting. So yeah, we'll see how we go.
Nice. You are the multi-threading king. I think we are. You grabbed onto that early on with the multi-threading, right? But maybe we could start with tell us where you're coming from. Like, what's your background?
Mm,
What have you been doing in your professional experience? Where are you based, and what sort of got you interested in making the move into tech sales?
yeah, for sure. So I've spent the last 7.5 years in real estate and like grew up in a really small town, 2,000 people on the coast. You either stay there, pick up a trade or go to Wollongong or Sydney or Melbourne. Really no other options, to be honest. There's nothing to do. You get pretty bored after a couple of hours. Um, so yeah, I had a gap year, just worked, saved up a bit of cash, moved up to Sydney, and I wanted to get into real estate sales. I didn't have any experience, no connections or anything. I didn't want to start in leasing, which was the sort of entry pathway into real estate, but yeah, I wanted to get straight into sales. Was always sort of selling things as a kid, so I was always into it. But I just thought, yeah, what a good industry to get into, and found a place in the rocks. They took a chance on me at the time, and yeah, that was the start of my career. But in terms of where I've ended up in the lower North Shore of Sydney, so quite an affluent part of the world, and yeah, it's been good, but this is going to be even better, so I'm excited.
Super cool. I remember one of our very first coaching calls when we jump on and do the strategy,
Mm,
and we get you guys to fill out the my story. We've just moved that into some onboarding through our new proprietary app, which is really cool.
yep.
But there's definitely a few standout moments for me working with you throughout the journey, Blake, and I just couldn't get over when we got your real estate agent profile up online, and it just had like 105-star reviews out of 100 reviews. I was like, come on, we've got to put that in an outreach loom or something. So good
Yeah,
testament.
look, I appreciate that. Like, that was important to me to get some social proof because I'm fairly young and in a marketplace where you have people who have been there for decades. It's you just need to do everything to stand out and be the option rather than it's very easy to go with a veteran. And yeah, it's like why would you go with me?
Yeah, totally. It goes a long way, right? So it just
Mm,
shows again like that customer centricity you have, and also the level of professionalism that you've got coming from a different industry and leveraging
mm,
those points that are unique to you as well as you think about making a pivot or a transition into a new industry, really, at the end of the day. So it's
totally.
very cool thing. Early on as well, Blake, you did a really good job multi-threading. What would you explain to the audience what multi-threading is?
Yeah, I love that term. It's my favorite tech term. For various reasons. No, but I think it's just for me, I looked at it as just making a lot of noise. Like before I landed at Adaptive, like I was trying to get into a few funnels and what have you. And for everyone listening, that just means, you're noticed by a company and you start an interview process. So I was in love with Salesforce at the start, and I was like, that's who I want to work for, and that's the company I keep seeing their logo in the sky when I'm, driving across the bridge. It's hard to ignore because it's the biggest tower in the city. Um, but yeah, like that's a good example, I think, of multi-threading because I reached out to an SDR. We had a phone call. I got a referral link from her and I used it. I knew I had to use it because, scrolling through LinkedIn jobs, it's like down the bottom and it's like 300 people applying for these things. I'm like, how on earth are you going to stand out? But also, there's no chance a hiring manager or, recruiter is calling through that many people. There's just no chance. It's probably, I don't know, maybe you can speak to how many people, but it's surely like 20 or 30 max, I would say. Um, so that's how that started. And then I just, I just really connected with as many people as I could have in the company and tried to get on the phone with them or try to get a Zoom with them and do the same thing. Either get another referral link or, have them say, hey, if you're keen and you haven't heard back yet, I'll put in a word for you. And that's what happened a couple of times. Obviously, leveraging you guys as well. And um, I think Kayla was speaking at Salesforce that week or the week prior, and it's like, yeah, all of that was so useful. So in the end, I think it was probably, I reckon, 5 or 6 different touch points when, I finally got like a response from the recruiter. And it was too late because I, pretty much had accepted this. But yeah, that's probably a good example of multi-threading for everyone listening.
Totally, totally. And in layman's terms, it's really like an approach we take to start developing relationships with stakeholders. And as it
Mm,
relates to the double triple program, we look at three major stakeholders: the internal recruiters, a hiring
mm,
manager or like a sales leader, someone applicable to the role at least, and then like a sales peer group.
yeah.
And you and I were laughing about it, but I was saying you'd be so surprised how forthcoming the sales peer groups are.
Mm,
Did you find that in
yeah.
your experience? Like everyone was just like happy to have a chat, refer you,
Yeah.
catch up for
Everyone
a
was
coffee.
super happy. I tried to target people that were in real estate or at least had some connection to me. I thought that was an intelligent thing to do. And I guess, if anyone else can do that, I'd leverage that, like whichever industry you're coming from, because they know what you've gone through and are going through. And usually a lot of them just said like, I wish I did this a lot sooner. And I genuinely thought that everyone was, in some way getting paid for me to come into tech sales in the end. I was like, do you get a referral fee like for this? Because everyone was saying such great things about the industry and they had zero agenda but to help me out and give me genuine advice and insight. Um, so yeah, it's super helpful to also just get so many different opinions as well to form your own.
Yeah, absolutely. What did you learn along that process, Blake, when you were speaking to people in tech sales? What did you
Mm.
learn? Anything insightful, or maybe like something you didn't know at the time?
I think probably just bringing it back down to earth. Like for me, when I first started, I remember jumping on the first webinar with you guys, and I'm like, what language is this? Like, I cannot understand what is going on at the moment. Um, and not that you're meant to, but coming from a totally different world, I'm like, yeah, I feel like I'm in too deep already. Um, so probably speaking to these people and understanding that, you know, that all comes with time and, going through the process, you get used to the technical terms and all the acronyms and all the rest of it. And I'm still learning. Um, but probably that. Probably understanding that, you know, they're all pretty, I don't know, they're all really, I guess, happy to be there, which I thought was a big thing because I speak to some people in, real estate, for example, they're in another office and they're like, oh, yeah, this is pretty average. But every single person I spoke to, they were happy to be in their company and in the industry itself. So um, that just reaffirmed my um, desire to get in and get stuck into something.
Yeah, I love it. Not that you needed more energy around it, Blake, because you were just G'd up every step of the way, but I think that put fuel on the fire early on.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
why did
It
people say
just
no?
reinforced it, which was awesome. But to that point, just the amount of activity, that was seen both from the community itself. I'm sure we'll talk about that, more, but just every day. obviously I'm in one world, which is real estate, have to do my job and work with buyers and sellers. But, you know, after I get home or even during the day, just seeing the app or seeing the app and the chats and everyone just succeeding, like it was such a big part of the energy momentum, which I think was, yeah, so much value in that.
Yeah, awesome. No, it's a very special community, that's for sure. Everyone's getting around each other. It's like awesome to see all the
So good.
wins, like even the micro wins and then the big wins. It's just like it's so much fun to be
Mm,
in the double triple community and see that just happening like every day at the moment. It's really, really cool.
so good.
Tell tell us about Blake, I remember early on we shortlisted in your job tracker. I think we had 12 to 15-ish roles shortlisted
Mhm.
initially and they go through that exercise of identifying your priority accounts very quickly, you had almost quite an interesting profile across three different accounts, right? Salesforce, the big
Mm,
darling tier one, you sort of caught up on that quite a lot,
yep.
understandably so.
Yep.
Then there was adaptive security, which was really a profile of a startup, hyper
Mhm.
growth. And then there was Gartner, which was a bit of a different one in the mixer around an ecosystem type entity, and we refer to that in channel partners or even like research firm being Gartner. They hire a lot, and you can get sort of
Yep.
a different benefit to a career starting in a company like that. Um, what was your decision point as you decided to like really focus and mobilize, follow up the sales force, do a couple of interviews with Gartner,
Mm.
start the interview funnel with Adaptive? There's probably a week and a half there, right, where all of those started to crank in a different way, commenced.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
how did you sort of navigate interview process and what was that like execution phase? How did that come to life for you?
Yeah, it was an interesting one because Gartner was really the first one that I guess kicked off, and I was so excited about it because it was, well, it was the first one, and I guess just getting into that headspace of interviews and feeling like it's all real now. And then at the time I didn't even know what they did or who they were, but like not even a tech company, but I'm like, okay, this is good, and understandably a lot of people start there and then they hire. Like I think Salesforce hires a lot from Gartner, so I was like, okay, there's a lot of value
Mm,
there. Um, but I think I just tried to do it all at once. I don't know if I'd recommend doing that, but I think we spoke about in our one-on-ones sort of just more striking while the iron's hot energy wise because I was so hyped and still am, but just yeah, while you are, make sure you're giving that to people that you're interviewing with. Um, but yeah, I was sort of halfway through Gartner and then I reached out to the recruiter for Adaptive, and then we just that moved really quickly, and I think that moved really quickly because of its I guess position in the market, which is obviously trying to crack into Asia Pacific, whereas Salesforce and Gartner are pretty established. So I think they're much bigger companies. So I think they took things a little bit slower. That said, Gartner was pretty quick, but Salesforce definitely the slowest of them. Um, but I think for me there was a mixture of wanting to get into something as soon as possible, and frustration in my current role as well, but also understanding that I don't just want to take any opportunity. Like I want to take the best opportunity, and ended up, being very clearly adaptive because of, the fundamentals we spoke about, the upside, but also, yeah, in the end, they moved really quickly, which I, appreciated.
yeah, they're very much mobilized and moved quickly too, and we actually see it across the program. I was just speaking about another member just before
Mm,
we started to hit record, and she had a similar experience, actually, a bit of slowness in a couple of the first few target
mm,
accounts, and then
yep.
this one she's just been offered. It just moved so quickly, and there's a lot of positive signals through each stage, and you sort of get a
Yeah,
feel of like,
totally.
and just in classic sales, you're like, this deal is on.
Yeah,
You can sense the signals, right?
definitely, definitely.
Very cool. You also had how many rounds? Tell us about the interview process with Adaptive from there. How many rounds? What were the stakeholders?
Mm,
US folks, in country, they're newer, establishing the team here. You're going to be selling
mm.
across APAC. That's pretty cool. Tell us
Yeah, it's
about the
super cool.
processes end to end with it, with Adaptive in particular.
Yeah, so the international go-to-market recruiter, he's based in the UK. So my first chat with him was, I guess, essentially the screening call. But I'd like to think I bypassed all those applicants on LinkedIn because I just reached out to him, and I guess that's yeah, whether it's luck or whatever it is. Like he happened to read it, which is great. He said, I appreciate the approach, and I tried to lock in a meeting as soon as possible. So I thought that was really a critical step in the whole thing, because if I just went down the LinkedIn route or sort of didn't bother to reach out, as you should do, probably wouldn't be sitting here. So it started with that. And then I think 2 days later, we had I think it was a call with Jordan, the BDR manager. So I had a chat to him. And then the next round was with him and his boss. So Jordan was in New York and his boss was in the UK. And then after that was the SVP of sales, and he was in, I think he was in New York as well. And then they flew the head of international expansion into our new office in Barangaroo. So I was able to meet him in person. That was the last round. And yeah, I was hoping that was the last round, and he made me think that there might be another round. But that was the final round. So yeah, it was a pretty quick process as well from a timeline point of view. I think that was pretty much spot on 2 weeks.
Crazy. They move super quick,
Mm.
like 2 weeks end to end
Yeah.
from first interview through to offer stage. But you
Mm.
also prioritized it too, right? Even though you're managing a full-time job, people have work commitments, family commitments, their own health, lifestyle to
Mm.
look after. But remember, you were just like, okay, I can't. I'm sort of gridlocked in my normal chunk of the
Yeah.
day, but you also prioritize the time after hours and connected follow-ups and that sort of thing. So it's like you
Mm.
also match their pace in the end.
Definitely. And I was, lucky in a way of the time zones helping out in that way. Obviously the final stage pulled some strings, got out of the office, and yeah, I wasn't going to miss that for anything. So I booked it in as soon as possible. And yeah, I think that was important. That, yeah, just as you said, sort of just mirroring the speed on both sides. Like, you know, trying to lock something in as soon as possible rather than, if Joel suggested Friday, like, no, let's do it Tuesday. Like, just trying to move it all forward.
Yeah, totally, totally. Do you remember your outreach message to Joel's, who's go-to-market recruiter at Adaptive?
I don't, but do you want me to bring it up? Because I can.
We've got a bit of a special here. We're ready to go, Blake. Live on
Oh,
screen. Look at
there
this.
you
This is a
go.
masterclass in outreach. What do you reckon of this, Blake? Looking
Oh,
back,
I don't
fond
know about
memory.
that, but it's just to the point, really. Yeah. So I'm
Nah, so
glad that he,
good.
received it that way, because it's not impressive by any means, I don't think, but it's just straight to the point and asking for a conversation, which I was doing for everyone. So
Absolutely. Yeah, you'd be surprised. Like we're big advocates for this through the double triple program, and we do believe that the sharpness in the messaging makes a big difference in the
mm,
outreach. And
yep,
thinking about Joel as a go-to-market recruiter, right? I think you mentioning to him, hey, 7 years in real estate sales, making a deliberate move into tech, prospecting, stakeholder deals, discipline, fundamentals, and so that's why you. And then it's
mm,
like Adaptive, right at the top of my list. You guys are hiring, would love to chat. You know, why you, why now, these sort of
mm,
themes, and it's very succinct and to the point, and there's like a soft call to action, which we always recommend. And you can see
yep,
Joel is like, love this, great approach, like let's do it. What's a time? And then boom, you've got a lead there, and everything just
yeah,
really snowballed from there for you, Blake, which I thought was just a really good example of the outreach where it does work. And it's
mm,
like you got to be relentless in the approach too, because Joel really helped to drive the interview process, right? The funnel end to end, being the internal recruiter. And
yep,
in the end, he was also, I know you were following him up, like anything we should prep for, trying to get the inside goss, which he typically can from the recruiters. But yeah, I
yep,
just think it's a good example of how the messaging does work in the outreach and just really driving it like a sales cycle as well.
100%. Like,
How do you feel looking back on this?
oh, it's cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, with all that said, there's 50 different messages that weren't received that way. So I think, yeah, it's you just gotta do it and sort of hope for the best.
Totally, totally. Wonder if there's a few other screenshots in there as well. And if we move across. Too good.
Hopefully, once you can show. No, no, no.
No, that's great. Cool to show that actually. It's always fun when we look back on the journey too, like coming to this point of celebrating,
Yeah,
the
totally.
offer, you're about to fly to LA, jumping on the podcast to talk about the journey. And I know I was even looking back at the Fathom recordings from the coaching calls, and it's just like, you know, looking back on the strategy through to like, all right, we've got this lead now, and then like you say, Adaptive really mobilized 2 weeks end to end really quickly, and it was just like
Yeah,
it's on, like go go go. A lot of energy
yeah,
around it.
totally. It was good. It was a really good process. Can't complain.
It's awesome. What was your biggest motivation for actually making the move, Blake? Like coming into tech sales now, could you maybe share for the listeners out there?
Mm,
If they're thinking about making a move or they're in a similar position, like what was it for you that's core to the motivation to making this? It's a big life decision. You're on a new
totally.
path now, a new career. Like what was the core motivation for you in making a decision like this?
I mean, there was a few. You know, we're all salespeople at the end of the day, so money was a big thing, or the potential to make money, um, and make it in a structured way. I'd say was a really big thing for me. I realized very quickly that, after speaking to people and even seeing so many people's profiles on LinkedIn, it's like, you're an SDR, you get promoted for AE, and then you're a commercial AE and enterprise, and just seeing people actually progress in a structured way made me think that, yeah, there's probably a different way to go about your professional career. Where I think real estate's it can be a little bit ambiguous in the sense of progression and pay. It can be incredible, but it can also be, there's a period of time where you're sort of trying to break through the clouds, as they say. And you know, that can be a really tough time. So I think that was one of the biggest motivations. I think the second being just how big the world is. Like I had no idea about it genuinely before we first caught up. Um, yeah, I did some very early exploration about a year ago, as we spoke about as well, but I just had no idea how much money was flowing through, you know, tech. And yeah, I couldn't believe it. I'd been pretty focused on real estate and what I was doing for 7 years, never really entertained anything else. Um, but even seeing this company that I'm joining, their revenue go from $1 million a month to 20 in a month, 20 a month in 12 months is just bizarre. Like you think about that and you go, that's just incredible. So I really wanted to be a part of that, and here we are. Um, so I'd say those were my main motivators.
Yeah, awesome. Love it. Big numbers, hey. Like tech is
It's just
just
crazy,
enormous. Yeah,
insane.
in all
Yeah,
facets.
yeah.
Remuneration, company growth, global perspective.
Mm,
It's very expansive, and I think it also provides opportunities to also, like from a professional and a personal perspective, you just get so much coming into an industry, which, of course, I'm biased, but you just get so much from it. Again, it
yeah,
gives you so much.
yeah,
So it's just, yeah, truly global, very, very innovative, and just the sharpest minds and the best people get attracted to this industry for good reason. So here we go.
totally. Let's go.
You're about to sell across the APAC region too, Blake, interestingly. So this role has APAC coverage for those that might not be familiar with the terminology being Asia Pacific,
Mm,
the Asia Pacific region. You're going to be
yep,
based in Sydney. I'm sure there'll be a big emphasis on winning the market share here in Australia. New Zealand is a
yeah,
starting point and
yeah.
expanding into like Singapore. But tell us about the opportunity then to be actually across different cultures, geographies, selling into different countries. Like APAC is also very cool, even
Mm.
starting out in tech.
Oh, it's super exciting. Like, even the prospect of travel. I haven't done too much traveling, but I know that's an added bonus to the whole thing. But I had a friend and she was, at a pretty big tier one logo, and yeah, she'd do so much traveling. And I'm like, how? Like it's like they've got offices everywhere. So that's obviously a nice byproduct of it all. But yeah, even thinking about it right now, speaking to you about, yeah, I guess the different regions. understanding how to sell to different regions will be really interesting because, the things you say to someone, in Sydney versus how you speak to them and what you say to them in Japan probably is going to be totally different. So that's exciting as well, the variety in that.
Arigato gozaimasu means thank you in
Exactly.
Japanese, so to take away a few high
Yeah.
levels.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
So good. Um, and I know coming into a new industry, there was a lot of like, I don't know what this acronym means. I don't even know
Mm.
what this language is right now. I'm just gonna turn up, smile, and nod. But there's probably still an element of that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Some people think you've got to be, tech sales. They think you've got to be overly technical. The reality is you've got to be good with people. It's more an
Mm.
emphasis on the sales side. But what's your experience been, Blake? Just getting to know the jargon, the acronyms, just learning how to spell tech. Where are you at
Yeah.
with all of that?
Yeah, that's been a challenge. No, it's been really good. I mean, just like with anything, you hear it so often and everyone says certain things and you eventually pick it up. So by osmosis, you pick it up. Speaking to you, you pick it up. In the chat, you pick it up. So
Love
I don't
that.
think that's an issue. I'm definitely not the smartest person in the world, and I'm not super technical either. I've got like yeah, I would say I'm middle of the road to be honest in that respect. But yeah, you're right. It's a people thing and a relationship thing, and at the end of the day, you're a salesperson, so that's that.
Totally, totally. What about I know we like to have a little bit of banter, more just out of jovialism about, Kayla's AI, I'm cyber. But the reality is, of course, like there's lots of different tech categories and domains and parts of the industry to come into.
Hmm.
Um, Outside of just the opportunity at Adaptive, was there any motivation even considering cybersecurity? Or did you learn about anything? Did you learn anything about cyber that was like, oh no, this is actually a great category to back just through your journey? Outside of
Yeah,
my
well,
influence, perhaps.
yeah, I mean, a lot of it was well, both yourself and Kayla's influence in the sense of obviously I'm trusting you guys, and yeah, it's like probably wouldn't have. Well, I don't know. Like, I still don't know that much about cybersecurity. Like at the end of the day, or AI for that matter. But they commercially seem like great options because that's the way the world's going. That said, I did listen to a podcast that you put in the chat, either the wider chat or our chat, and said, "Hey, listen to this," and I actually listened to it, and it sounded quite interesting, genuinely. Um, Not that I, you know, remember what was said, but at the time, like it sounded very interesting. And like the CISO that was, talking was like, okay, this is cool. This is actually really cool. So I'm sure there's going to be some, like there is genuine excitement and curiosity about it. But yeah, I don't know if I could say much more than that because
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know anything more than that.
Wait till LA. 8th of
Yeah,
June
exactly.
when you're in LA and you do your onboarding. You'll know
Totally,
more then.
totally. Yeah, cybersecurity 101.
That's right. Yeah. I think at the very first initial stages you were just like adaptive security, this looks like a training platform or something. You said something like very rudimentary just
Mm,
about the offering, which is quite true in the sense of what they offer, because they help mitigate like risk in a sense of, phishing is a big vector in cyber. There's a lot
yeah.
of awareness training that happens that's very much like person to person, but adaptive security are taking like a very AI native approach to that. And also against like deep fakes, which is like
Mm,
videos that are used to impersonate executives through video mediums,
mm, mm.
people become really susceptible to that. And instead of clicking on a link and getting phished and then the company gets hacked, it's a lot more believable
Yeah,
if I'm impersonating the CFO. The video looks
totally.
really real because of the state of like where AI is today, and you can do those deep fakes really at a fraction of the cost with a lot of speed, like hackers can.
Mm, mm,
Um, and it's just a very interesting part of security to be playing, but the risk is real
definitely.
too. So it's just an interesting approach to the innovation as well as what the risk looks like for organizations. And I remember your preparation for the interview where you have to actually pitch adaptive security. It was like 5 or 6 slides, keep it short and sharp. You're like, I have no idea
Yeah,
what any of these things mean, but I'm just gonna give it a crack here, and it makes enough
yeah,
sense for me at this point.
totally, totally. And well, I mean, I practice that a lot. So, that again, like how I became more comfortable with the terminology and the acronyms is just getting around it and getting around it frequently. Um, so yeah, I mean, I finally know what a CISO is, so that's good. Good start.
Yeah, it's good. It's a great starting point. That's all you need to know, Blake.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
That's very cool. And then Barangaroo, the offices there, despite bit of a
Is
WeWork, but
yeah,
Barangaroo,
it's a proper
nice offices in
startup vibe.
Sydney.
I was
Yeah.
talking to someone. Well, I find it funny because I thought I was going to be in a different office, but we'll get there. We'll have our own office one day. But no, I'm sure
But
it's
now
going
that
to be
you've
great.
joined, now
Yeah,
that you've joined, the company will be
now that
growing
I've joined, we'll stay in the WeWork for a lot longer. So,
longer.
no, but it's going to be good. It's going to be intimate. I was talking to someone today at a competing cybersecurity company, and I think there's a lot of benefit in being in that space, and I guess being in a founding team with so few people at the moment. I think that'll hopefully contribute to some really good relationships being formed, and yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, I love it, Blake. Also, I think that the cool thing about your opportunity at adaptive security is the fact that you are joining in a BDR role, founding team, as you mentioned.
Mm,
And we've spoken to about, all things going super well. You hit the ground, you're performing, which I have no doubt you'll do. Lots of tailwinds for the company growth and
mm,
just like the
yep.
market dynamics at the moment. We do really believe that there's a strong pathway to progress into that AE role pretty quickly. We think a
Mm,
lot of people come into the double triple program they get caught up on like I definitely want to be an AE. And of course
yep.
you look at the background, the skills experience and the potential and also like, market competitiveness and opportunity there. But
Mm,
I think your result is a really good example of like this is where you can really back the right horse and within 6 to 12 months, 18 months you become that number one rep and you're the first in line for the promotion. And the benefit
mm,
is, you know the product, the customers really well because you've been there internally. And then you move up into the AE role and you can double your income again. It's just like there's a lot to be gained and benefit from that. And I saw that with Kayla's journey at MoveWorks. Like she
mm,
really had a similar growth trajectory and it was just like commercial AE,
yep.
mid-market, enterprise, acquisition, covering strategics. It's just like that happened so quickly in her career. And it's like there's almost like a blueprint there of being a founding member in a hyper-growth company like this can certainly
Mm,
be a part of the future. And if you just lock in and just give it your all, it's
yeah.
definitely can be on the horizon for you. So I think that's a very exciting prospect at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think yeah, I remember us talking at the start, and yeah, ideally I wanted to slot into an AE role, and yeah, it's a tricky one because I wouldn't say, like, I'm sure some people in the group and the team are going to have more experience than me, and some will have less. But I thought I maybe had enough to be an AE, and maybe at a different company. But yeah, after speaking to a lot of people, and obviously you and Kayla, it made sense to take a role like this and progress in that way. Because at the end of the day, the amount of people I spoke to who also externally who had more experience than me and wanted to be an AE first off, um, it was like, look, we know you can sell, we know you're a great salesperson and performer. I'm talking about other people, and it's like, yeah, like we just don't know if you can sell tech. And I think there's a lot of respect to be given to that. And but you look at the timelines that you're talking about, 6 to 12 months, 18 months. It's like it's a drop in the ocean, really.
Yeah. It's immaterial in the grand scheme of things, especially if you
Mm,
can also sharpen the saw and just learn the fundamentals super well and then move up
absolutely.
the ranks. You just really grow from there. So
Mm,
it's good. It's like well begun is half done a lot of the time.
totally.
Very exciting. Are you most excited? What are you most excited for what the future brings, Blake, at this point?
Oh, it's a good question. Um, it's the whole thing. Like, there's a lot of energy around it. Like, I think the people are going to be amazing. At least everyone that genuinely everyone I've spoken to has been awesome. Um, so I'm
The LA
excited to be
trip.
around different people. Yeah, the LA trip, that's going to be cool. I haven't been there before, so I'm sure that's going to be awesome. Um, yeah, I guess just the prospect of doing something totally new as well. I mean, you look at it from you zoom out a bit and you realize this will change everything from a life point of view. Like obviously my day to day is going to be totally different to now, hours and days, and like I'll have a weekend. I don't know what that is, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Um, so yeah, it's going to be awesome. Can't wait.
True. Coming from the real estate sector, you've got your weekends back. You're a new
Yeah,
person. It's a big
Saturdays,
win.
it's just absolutely insane. I mean,
Crazy.
I was talking to someone today, he was in real estate and like, yeah, he's like, look, I mean, we were both never the precious type to be like, oh, I wish I was at the beach on Saturday, even if you're there at 4 o'clock at an open home, but it didn't really feel like work. But yeah, I think just having a weekend's gonna change my life. So see how that goes. I'll report
Yeah.
back in a few months.
Yeah, let us know in the group chat what it's like to have 2-day weekends.
Yeah, totally. Normal
So good.
weekends. Yeah.
I've got to ask too, Blake, what would you say, do you think you could have gotten this result or gone at it alone? And, why did you choose to actually come into the double triple program, above all? Because of course
Yeah.
you can apply roles yourself and solo, but what was the big sort of
Yeah.
decision for you to actually come into double triple?
No, there was a few things like, it all started with seeing Kayla on Instagram and, you know, that was eye-opening, that content at the time, which was, income based, obviously. So that caught my attention. But after speaking to you initially, just realizing, you're actually the real deal. Like, looking at your LinkedIn and professional history, it's like, all right, well, you've done it and you've done it to an incredibly high level. And you've done it to a level that, I hope to do it at. And it's like, all right, well, there's immediate trust there. So that was a big part of it, and realizing that you were both in that same space at a very, very high level. So I had two of you. So that was a bonus. I think, yeah, I mean, I think when I joined, obviously things were at their sort of infancy. So yeah, I'm sure he'll be fine with me saying this, but yeah, I have a mate of mine also in the program, and that was a really good thing in all facets. But I think back to your question in a very long-winded way, could you do it yourself? Absolutely, you can do it yourself, but I don't think that I would have done it as quickly or as effectively or as well. Um, and a lot of that was the community and the energy that that created, because I can see how if you tried to jump into this just raw, like, and doing it yourself without any support, all of those knockbacks that came through it, you know, like I reckon I applied for 30 things and, you don't hear back. And that was from like the LinkedIn approach. I'm sure a lot of people go through that LinkedIn approach if they're doing it themselves. A week later, you get like 6 emails in one, like an hour window to say, hey, we've read your resume, like, get lost. Um, like that's hard. I'm sure that's a very hard thing to deal with if you're doing it alone. So again, just leveraging the other people in the group, you guys, the fact that you're actually there was big. Like I could just lean on you for everything. Super active in the chat. Um, yeah, but I think it's just the energy piece, like just having everyone there who is clearly trying to do the same thing as you are, which is land a great role. And it's almost like, I wanted to make inroads to, you know, prove it to you guys just as much as myself that, I could actually land a role and make things happen. Um, so yeah, if anyone's looking at it, just jump in. Like there's no, like obviously how long I took to jump in, but I wish I didn't. I wish I did it straight away.
Yeah, you took time to make your decision. I think you even referred Muni in first
I
so
did.
he could test the water, and then
Yeah,
he's like,
that's
"No,
exactly
the
right.
girl's the
I
real
didn't know
deal." And go,
whether to
"All right,
say
fine,
that,
I'll
but you
do
said it. So
it."
But no, that
Yeah,
was good. There's
too
like, yeah,
funny.
it's we're all smart people here. Well, I'm not that smart, but everyone who's in the program is very intelligent. So it's like there must be something here, and there was, and there is. So yeah,
Yeah, for sure. No, it's good. Definitely emphasizing the community as well, and the it's like inevitably the emotional support. You have people that are getting around you and or like
yeah,
picking you up or encouraging you, and even just like we see the announcements be made, and the people are so they're everyone else is on the journey with you. Like I know
yeah,
when we announced it in the
totally.
circle community, the result you got a few days ago, and just like all the comments come flooding in. There's like 20 comments in there. There's gifs, like high fives. Everyone's
Yeah.
just as excited for you too, right? And it's like it's a very special moment in life, I think, to have almost
Mm,
like that community around you. And also, what's really cool, it's the start of your professional network in tech too, if you're coming
exactly.
from outside the industry. This is
100%.
really cool.
100%. Yeah, it's super cool. And it's real. Like, I'm not just saying it, like it's there and it exists. And I've reached out to a few people and taken those conversations, outside of the group, which is good. So there's so much more of that to do as well.
Yeah, awesome. Last thing I wanted to cover too, Blake, was how what do you think were like the big drivers? Like things that come to mind for me was like the outreach. I mean, the interview prep, we always find there's like a lot of like preparation required because they're pretty big tasks, right? Like you had to pitch adaptive security. You have no idea what it is. They give you a
Yeah.
brief. You
Yep.
prep for that. We jumped on, we rehearsed. It's like get you to Loom rehearsal. There's a lot of work that goes into the prep just to make sure you really do nail it.
Mm.
Were there any characteristics like that that were like big standouts for you in terms of the program side that helped you to move the dial?
I think, yeah, probably just leaning on you guys genuinely for advice and feedback and even screenshotting you the scenario email and saying, hey, like, what does this actually mean, because this could mean it's like sending you an exam question. You guys are the ones creating or trying to help me crack the exam. Because I had 5 minutes to pitch, and it's like, does that mean ask 50 million questions, because that's normally how I would sell? Or does it mean like,
Totally.
show me how you can actually sell something? Um, and in the end, it was like what I did was fine, obviously, but just trying to ascertain what it was with you guys was helpful, and just get your feedback. So that's where, I saw a lot of value, because I mean, even if I did go down the wrong path, I'm sure wouldn't have been catastrophic, but it's, yeah, having a sounding board, and obviously you've done it before and you've been at a high level from a sales point of view. It was like, okay, what's the most likely scenario, or what's the most likely thing that they're actually wanting from you? And in my case, it was just, you know, pitch, show us how you can sell. And then in the end, I think I asked one question, which was fine, was enough, but always more questions. So
Totally. Yeah, yeah. It's like interpreting the brief, right? And like, what do they look for
yeah,
in this tech world? Like, what are they actually testing for? And always there's two components of like, they want to see you deliver on the brief, which is the 5 minute pitch in
yeah,
some slides and reading between the lines there. But then they're always looking for the subtleties around that, like how you
mm,
present, the body language, following up in between
absolutely.
and those sort of aspects. So, yeah, all of those things come together and it's a confluence, to get the
Definitely.
outcome. The other thing for you too,
Definitely.
Blake, it's like you were highly motivated to make a move quickly. So it's like, what's in the market? How do we hit the ground running? And literally
Yeah.
like 2 to 3 weeks, here we are at the other end now. So there's those factors too that I think come into people's personal situations of like, let's do this
Mm,
really quickly, or maybe take a
yeah.
little bit more time. So really, the overarching philosophy for us is to really help to maximize that across like
Yeah.
5 key dimensions in your own evaluation and decision criteria at the end of the day
Yeah.
to make a move like this.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Like I said to myself at the start, when I first joined, I'm like, I want to find something in 6 weeks. And again, that was born out of so many different things. But yeah, I don't think that would have been possible without, everything, and yourself and Kayla. So very grateful.
Very cool. Well, we're stoked for you, Blake. I can't wait to
Thank you.
see the montage when you're in LA in just like a week's
Mustache.
time.
Yes, the montage. I'll send you one.
Exactly. Yeah, it's very exciting with these tech companies. Lots of perks, but a lot of the times being like, US headquartered, to fly
Mhm.
over to LA or Silicon Valley or wherever it might be to actually do onboarding, learn how to
Mm,
sell, what the product's all about, and also immerse yourself in the company and the culture and the people.
definitely,
Getting that
definitely.
global perspective is just like it's a very exciting outlay. So we're looking forward to seeing how you go over there and what your feedback
Thank
is
you.
once you're over there at the headquarters.
I'm excited. I Yeah, just on that point really quickly. Like for me and where I'm at in my life, like you know, holistically, it's quite an experience. Like I've never been to LA, so that in itself is going to be awesome. But you talk about or earlier, you talked about our region and selling into the region here, and it's like genuinely global, which is super exciting. Like if you think about where I've been from a real estate point of view, it's very hyper local. Like you can't really at least have a long career in real estate, a long and successful one. You really have to stay geographically in the same place, which is largely what I've done for the last few years. Um, and you sort of don't realize that there's a whole nother world out there.
For sure. Yeah. More to come. So super
Totally.
excited for you. Any parting advice, Blake, if anyone else is thinking about coming into double triple or even just thinking about a career in tech sales,
Mm.
what would you say to them? What's the parting words?
Well, for the former, I'd say if you're considering, yourself and Kayla in the program, just do it. Genuinely, just do it. And if you've got questions, let me know. Happy to chat through them. But the latter, I've got no idea. I mean, upon face value, it looks like a great thing. And, sitting in front of you, it's been a great thing for you guys. But I don't know. I really don't know. But I'm about to find out.
About to find out. Hold on to the rocket ship. Let's go.
Yeah, totally, totally.
We're excited for you, Blake, and it's been a pleasure working with you and having you in the community. Where
Thank
we
you.
love having you part of Double Triple. Even stoked that you brought a friend. Even better so though you chose cybersecurity. Very smart man, and I'm really looking forward to see you hit the ground running and supporting you for what's to come. So thanks again
Oh,
for your
thank
trust
you.
and partnership in us, and congratulations again on an
Likewise.
amazing standout result. And looking forward to supporting you now in the next phase as you start the role at Adaptive Security. So
Yeah,
wish
it
you
all
all the best.
starts here. Thank you, Gabe. I appreciate that. It's been awesome.
So good. And thanks for joining us on the podcast, Blake. We'll get you back for round two, maybe after a year in the role.
Pleasure. Can't wait when I'm in AE. Let's go.
Awesome. Thanks, Blake.